Hello, Episode 6. This collection of negatives is special on 2 counts: its size, over 1,000 glass plates, and also what it represents, much of the history of competitive cycling from the 1920s to 1950s. It's an astonishing archive of very high quality images taken by an expert photographer. It's amazing the collection has survived intact. Even more surprising that so far I don't know who the photographer is. I'm going to start by looking at some stunning cycling designs from the 1920s. I love these images. They represent people trying to get to grips with an emerging technology. Here we are outside a bicycle shop. Look at the strangeness of this bike design. Firstly, it looks rather large. The pedals are high off the ground. The lower part of the frame runs through from the centre of the back wheel up to the front of the frame in a straight line. It's built for a giant. No brakes. We call these fixed gear bikes. And the fixed gear came back into fashion just a few years ago. We can also date this image from the posters in the shop window. Here is another design. I remember very clearly in the early 1990s when suspension was added to what we then called mountain bikes. I remember thinking how clever the design was. Here we are back a century ago, and this bike has quite a sophisticated suspension system on both front and at the rear of the frame. Here's another, this time without suspension, but with very thin multiple tubing. It's got unusual forks, perhaps made this way in an effort to use less steel overall and bring the weight of the bike down, perhaps. The final bicycle in this section is a lovely recumbent machine, a later design. It was called the Cycle Ratio and was officially launched at the annual Lightweight Cycle Show in London in 1935. 1936 featured an event which was new to me, the 6-day race. The images here are from the first time it was held in Wembley in London. As the name suggests, it took place over 6 days and was entered by teams comprising of 2 cyclists. The field was international. The winners of the main prize would be the team that covered the most distance in 6 days, cycling 24 hours a day. It was a crazy endurance event. One half of the team cycled while the other was resting or sleeping. Teams had their base in the middle of the track. Here is the base for the French riders. They were sadly eliminated on the last day. And the Australian Smith brothers. And here are the Belgians, who were second. Because of the nature of the event, there were long periods where nothing much happened, and the cycling was quite relaxed. As you can see here, a rider reading a cycling magazine. The winning team covered 1,939 miles in their 6 days. Quite an achievement. Around 200 of the glass negatives in this collection featured the London cycling track Heren Hill. Many different races were recorded, and often the details of the races scratched into the negatives. It's an archivist's dream. The subject matter, framing and sharpness of these photographs are compelling. I've looked for similar photographs of these early races at Heren Hill, and none are better than those taken by our guy. This image shows the demonstration race of penny farthing bicycles, and you can see it's a busy event. Included are images of the international pre-Olympic trials in 1936 that took place here, and also the 1948 post-war Olympics. Check out these images. Here's a motorcycle used to gain higher speeds on the track, providing a slipstream for the cyclists. Here's the start of a short sprint time trial, and also the finishing line. Some rather stylish local dignitaries. More motorbikes and cyclists. And a lovely shot of the finish of a women's race. From the 1948 Olympics we move on to 1950 and the Tour de France. I think these shots are the best in the collection. Here the crowd wait for the entire Tour entourage to climb up the valley and pass by on the roads. And another mountain route. Check out the road conditions in these shots. They're no more than a dirt track. There's also some sponsorship by Shinzano, as can be seen here. And here, no special tyres or suspension, just brute force and effort. Here's the peloton passing through a village, and a sole rider in the mountains. Here is one of my favourites. It's cyclists passing through a feeding station, getting sustenance to keep them going during this 100+ mile stage of the race. Here's the overnight cycling maintenance crew at work, a rare shot. This stunning image shows the race leader in full flow through a town. A great capture in every way, perfectly focused and composed too. I'm only scratching the surface of this collection. It's hard to do justice to over 1,000 photographs and a lifetime's work of this unknown individual. What we can be certain of is that our photographer was completely dedicated. He was technically brilliant, just very talented. He also must have spent hours editing this collection to leave only the best images. If we could only thank him for capturing the past and preserving it in the way he did. Please share if you like the video, and also subscribe to get updates. Thank you.